Hey guys, look, listen, I usually talk about systems, ads, scaling your brand and that type of thing, but today I want to talk about something that majority of e-commerce people on YouTube simply don't talk about. And I think it's one of the most important reasons as to why some brands can scale, but they simply can't last, right? If you're anything like me, you're always trying to push the limits, you're working a ton, you're paying mentors, courses, etc., trying to do your absolute best to scale your brand. However, if you don't manage that time properly and you get burnt out and you're not consistently consistent, right, it's simply not going to work. And that's why you see lots of these brand owners who scale 2, 3, 4 years and then drop off the face of the earth and they can't make their brand or business sustainable. And so in this video, I want to touch on that because there's a few specific things that I do that have helped me get to year 4 and year 5 with my brand and helped take me from 6-figure months to multiple 8 figures per year through some of these principles. So I'm just going to sit down and kind of walk you through some of these points. And with that being said, let's get into it and I hope it helps. Okay, so look, one of the main reasons why brands can't last in the long term is they simply don't delegate and they don't know how to delegate, or they do delegate and then they end up working on things in the business that they don't actually want to do. So if this sounds familiar, you're working 8, 10, 12 hours a day. You wake up, first thing you do is check Slack messages. You're responding to everybody on the team. Then maybe you have some emails you need to get to. And then you're probably skipping breakfast. Sometimes you're going straight into work. You're just downing some coffee. And then once again, you try to get into some deep work, but then you have a couple meetings and you have to get to messages again. And so then you never really have this time to kind of sit down and actually do the meaningful work that ends up scaling you. You end up getting to it, but half of your time is spent on low leverage tasks or responding to people and pushing the team forward. Even if it's just editors and graphic designers or a few lower level hires, that's hurting your growth and it's going to make you burnt out, right? And so if that sounds like you, when you're checking Slack notifications or Shopify notifications and refreshing your sales and you're looking at day-to-day sales and you can't just relax and understand that, okay, week over week, we're scaling, we're good. Yesterday was terrible, but that's okay. There's no stress because week over week, month over month, we're pacing where we need to be. If you don't have that clarity, it's going to lead to some burnout. Maybe not burnout, but it's going to lead to you not doing your best work, because what you need to understand is to last the long term, you need to make a shift to delegating. And what's important here isn't to be cranking 10, 12, 14-hour work days. That's great and all, and you can do that. But if you are doing 10, 12, 13, 14-hour work days, it should all be on the work that you thoroughly enjoy and that you're best at, right? If half or 50% or 60% of the work that you're doing isn't in your zone of genius, and the zone of genius being the work that you actually genuinely enjoy doing, that gives you energy to do, and that actually drives revenue forward and that you're really good at, and instead, most of your tasks are on responding to team members or pushing XYZ forward, or maybe it's for you, it's making ads, maybe it's operations, talking to the supplier, managing the customer support team, right? If you're doing any work that is not something you thoroughly enjoy and that you're really good at, that produces revenue, that's what you need to move towards, okay? Because what burnout is you work for a year, 2 years, 3 years on this brand or business, and you're stuck doing everything all the time. You're video editing, you're graphic designing, you're managing the team, but you don't actually enjoy that part of the work. Maybe what you really enjoy is making the ads, okay? Or doing the strategy, or managing the team. What's the one thing that you really enjoy that you're also really good at? That's where your time and focus needs to go. Because it's not about cranking 10, 12, 14-hour work days. It's about having the option to do 8, 10, 12, 14-hour work days if you want. Like myself, I don't have to do that with the team I have in place, etc., but I still work more than anybody else on the team. Right? I work 10, 12 hours a day every day, but it's because the work that I'm doing, I enjoy. I get to choose what I do each day, and I specifically make sure that I have everything outsourced that I don't really enjoy, that I'm also not best at. So for example, making ads and copywriting, lots of you watching it probably really enjoy that. I don't. In fact, I just think I'm decent at it. I got good enough to scale the business at it, but I always knew it's not something I really enjoy doing. I don't really sit there and enjoy marketing, to be honest. That's just not for me. What I really enjoy is managing the team, leading, strategy. Funny enough, meetings, like team meetings and meetings with the marketing team, and me just sharing perspective and this offer test and planning out big swing offer tests and strategy tests. That's what I really enjoy. And so I knew that, and so I found somebody really good to take over the ad scripting, creative strategists, copywriters, etc. for me, who are better than me, who also enjoy that work, because now 100% of their time is going to what they enjoy and what they're best at. And now I can put 100% of my time towards what I'm best at and what I enjoy the most. And if you fail to do this, two things will happen. Well, one, you'll get tired of your work, you'll get burnt out, and you won't enjoy it as much because you're spending 50, 60% of your time on work that you have to do, not that you actually want to do. And once again, obviously when you're just starting your business, you have to do everything. And you work to get to the point where you're able to do this. But most people don't make that transition. But as they start scaling, they move to that transition too fast, or it's not in their head and they don't make it at all, and they end up getting burnt out and not making those next steps, okay? So that's what happens. And then the second result is you don't scale as fast, because if you have everybody on your team working in what they thoroughly enjoy doing and what they're best at, you will scale faster. Your business as a whole will move a lot faster. If I was still there making ads because maybe I'm the best on the team at it, let's say, but I don't really enjoy it, I'm going to procrastinate some work, I'm not going to do my best work, etc. Versus if I have somebody who really enjoys that and they give 100% of it and they're good at it, and I really enjoy the strategy and managing and I just spend my time doing that, once again, the business as a whole is going to perform much better. And this is different for everyone watching. If you're Google Ads or Facebook, whatever your zone of genius is that you really enjoy doing, okay, great, put your time there, right? Even if it's a video ad, I don't really care what it is. Point is, make sure as you start scaling and you're building out your team, etc., you spend your time to what you enjoy and what you're best at, okay? Assuming it's a revenue producing activity. As long as that's the case, you're in a good spot. But don't get caught where you get to 2, 3, 400K a month. Like lots of my clients, they come to me at mid 6 figures a month, and we help scale them to 7 or sometimes even 2 million plus a month. We've had one client now who's doing over, it's crazy. He's doing over 90,000 a day, and it's not even Q4 yet. And he's a Q4 brand. In October, he's doing 90K a day. And other clients, we have 3 brothers who joined, and they went from where they were at 350 to 1.5 million a month in 60 days. And lots of the time, it's not some groundbreaking new strategy I give them. It's, hey, look, here's what you're best at. Double down there. Let's hire and give you a hiring process to put these people in place to buy back your time, to put more time and effort there. And the result of that is scale. Not only scale, but you enjoy your work much more. And so you don't end up getting burnt out. Because once again, lots of these people, they start scaling, all they do is work, and then they don't enjoy the work as much, and then they get burnt out or they get tired of it, and then they can't last for the long term, right? And if once again, if that's you and that sounds familiar, or you're leading in that direction, understand it's gonna be a lot harder to beat somebody and build a long-term brand if they're doing what they enjoy every day. That's also revenue producing activities, and everyone's in their zone of genius, versus you trying to do multiple things who don't enjoy half the work that you're doing, right? So the beautiful thing with business is you can build it as you want. Build your business as you want, but my recommendation that will lead to higher scale and more money is work at what you really enjoy at and what you're best at, and then outsource and find other people to fill in those other spots who are also able to do that in their specific position. Now listen, my next point to make sure that you actually can sustain the long term and get to year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with your brand and sell it for multiple millions of dollars versus just pump and dump cash flow dropshipping stores is decision fatigue. And it's a real thing, okay? When you're doing everything, you make worse decisions, and more importantly than that is you get caught up in day-to-day work versus really focusing on what's gonna make the biggest impact for your business, identifying the constraint, and then putting all time and resources towards that. Okay, you probably hear me talk about that time and time again in the videos, but it can't be more true. And my recommendation to some actual tactical stuff here is the night before when you plan out your next day. One, have your calendar set in advance. Like I have an assistant now who sets my calendar. Meetings get booked back to front. And it's all planned out for me ahead of the day, which has helped a lot. But if you're doing it yourself like I did, make sure you book meetings later in the day as you can, or get them all done in the morning, whichever works best for you, but batch them together back to back. That way you don't have these weird blocks in between of lack focus, etc., where you're just kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs and you can't really get deep into a specific activity or task. 2, the night before, what I do is I just write down the top 4 to 5 things I need to get done for that day. Right? That's gonna make the biggest impact on my life personally and in business. Just 4 to 5 things, that's it. And if I can get done each of those 4 or 5 things on that list, the day was a big success and we made good progress, right? Some days there's actually only even 1 or 2 things on the list. It'll be like gym and, whatever, launch this offer or whatever it may be. But point is, have your list of 1 to 5 things that if you get that done, you make good progress on the business. And I mean good progress. I don't mean like, okay, we edited this video. I mean like real progress on your biggest constraint, deep work, okay? When you have those 3 to 4 planned out, you then look at your calendar and you say, well, how many hours or minutes will it take for me to accomplish each of these tasks, okay? And then that's the amount of deep work you need to schedule in for your next day. And so whether that's 3 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, once again, you'll get better at this as you go along. And sometimes you'll be like, okay, look, this will take me 4 hours, ends up taking 6, right? You're like, okay, it's gonna take 8, ends up taking 3. And you'll get better at it as you go. But point is, then you have to schedule your deep work time and make sure during the deep work time, your team knows, or anyone that you're talking to knows, look, my notifications are off, my phone's completely off in another room, there's no distractions, okay? This deep work time is to get that task list done. Those 4 to 5 things that will really make the business move. And sometimes, once again, if you know there's one main constraint, let's just say it's creative, and all you need to be doing right now is making better ads, etc. With more intent, let's just say that that's your constraint or what you need to improve. You may have one thing on that list, and your entire 4, 5, 6 hour deep work block for the day is just working on that one thing. And does this mean other things will be forgotten? Yes, it means other things will get pushed to the side, things will go overdue, these other little things here and there will go overdue, and that's fine, okay? You have to understand, when you know what your one constraint is, what you need to do to scale, block out the time in the calendar, make sure you put that as the task first. Don't procrastinate and do all these other little tasks to then do the main one. Just start with the main one and understand other things in the business will get delayed. Who cares? Okay? I can tell you right now that there's like 2 or 3 issues on our website that they're not like crazy website issues hurting conversion rate, but they look terrible. They don't look good. It's definitely very unbranded. It's messy. It looks like a drop shipping store, etc. Of certain parts of our website. And I know it's what we need to improve. But because it's not the main focus, we haven't touched that for 3 years. 3 years. Okay. Now, if I paid somebody to say, okay, look, just deal with this, please, Greg, I could. But with the time and resources that we have, I understand that that's not in our top constraints. That's not in the top things we need to work on to actually move the business and make, big gains in terms of the business revenue, profits, etc. And so it hasn't been a priority. So it's been and sat there, and that's fine. Because the result was we went from $1 million a year to $3 million a year to $10 million a year to $20 million a year, with this website issue still being there because it's not a priority, okay? And so if you don't know what your priority is, once again, first step is figure out what your priority is. Then, once again, now that you know what your priority is in terms of your biggest constraint that's actually going to make the most revenue and solving the biggest problem for your business that will lead to scale, the night before, you make your list of 1 to 5 tasks that you need to get done that day. You don't go to bed until those tasks get done that actually move the business forward. And if that means whatever, the team's delayed on stuff or certain tasks get delayed, that's okay. Okay, you make it very clear during these hours I'm doing nothing but working on these tasks, and that protects your focus massively. It solves and helps the decision fatigue to where now we only have to work on 1 to 4 things per day, and you scale massively because of it. Okay, so that's helped me massively. And once again, not only helped me massively scale, but helped me massively sustain in the long term, right? Like actually make big progress in the business very quickly and actually have a brand now that's in our 4th year going to the 5th year. Okay, and my last point that helps massively to keep you consistent over the long term and actually survive in this game of business or e-commerce is touch some grass. And I'm terrible at this. I should be listening to my own advice more, but touch grass and go do more things, okay? I'm very all in or all out of a type of person, right? If I say I'm gonna get into running, I'm one of the people who goes by a running vest, running glasses, a couch, whatever it may be. Like I go all in or I'm all out. And that's the same thing with work and time off. If I'm all in on work, I quite literally do nothing but work. And then when I'm on a trip or whatever, I do nothing but not work. Okay, so I'm very all in or all out in everything I do. I have a very hard time with balance. If you have a better time with balance, great. Please teach me. I should take some advice from you. But personally, and once again, I'm speaking from personal experience here, going all in, all out is just how I work. And so I've leaned into that. And what that means though, is that you need to touch grass, because if you are behind your computer screen for a month, 2 months, 3 months at a time, and you really don't do much else, you're going to get tired and burnt out because you're making all this money, you're making progress in your business, but you're not actually reaping the rewards or experiencing the benefits of the progress that you're making. And so you need to go touch grass. And so what's worked for me is for a 1 month to 3 month period, typically about 3 months, I just lock in. Like once again, maybe I'll see friends here and there. At the moment, I'm traveling around kind of digital nomading a bit with my significant other. And so there's not much social life around me at the moment. I'm kind of out in the middle of nowhere experiencing things with her, which has been great. But what that means is I'm not doing too much outside of work and spending time with her for a month to 3 month period. Okay. And so after the end of the 3 month period, I go on a big trip. And as of the time I'm recording this, I'm going to China in 2 days for a week. Then I come back, I work a bit more, and then I go to Cape Town. Right? Well, why? It's because the last 3 to 4 months I've done nothing but work. Okay, and you get to a point where you're tired and you need to go have some social life and touch some grass. And what you find is taking a break, even though it may delay some things or delay some progress, is you end up coming back from this much more motivated than ever. And so remember to touch some grass, okay? So typically what I do, once again, I'll work for a quarter straight, and then I'll go take a week, 2 weeks off completely, and I mean off. Like maybe I check messages here and there, but I'm off. I'm enjoying a good time, etc. I come back motivated and I lock in again. That's what's worked great for me. It obviously changes with what's going on in life. But once again, if you relate to this and you're a very all in, all out type of person, hopefully it helps. That's what's worked for me. But either way, that is what my form of balance looks like. But you should have some sort of balance. Once again, lock in periods and then go enjoy it. Because if you don't ever have that, once again, you will lose motivation. You'll get burnt out because you won't actually see and live the results of your hard work. So work hard, make progress, and then enjoy it, and then lock in again. Because once again, that motivation will continue to keep you going. So hopefully this was useful. Those are the 3 main points I want to talk about. This is a bit of a rant here, a bit of a yap sesh. But these 3 main things have helped me massively and helped me, once again, sustain fast growth and keep it sustained for over a 4-year period now on this brand versus when I struggled with that 6-figure months before this brand. Okay, it's also something I've taught my clients and helped them with massively. I've helped them go from, once again, multiple 6-figure months to multiple 7-figure months, 8 figures per year and beyond, and keeping it consistent, actually building something that you can sell for a lot of money versus just pump and dump stuff, right? And you don't get to that point unless you actually sustain and build for the long term. Okay, so with that said, I hope this helped, and I will see you in the next one.